What's up, everybody? How y'all been? I know it's been a while since I posted a video. I just happened to stumble across this Philip Defranco video talking about Trump being banned from Twitter. And honestly, I'm not even going to get into the Twitter portion of this. I think it's censorship. Do I think Trump has said some stupid things on Twitter? Obviously, yes, of course I do. Because Trump says stupid shit on Twitter sometimes. It's anybody with common sense is gonna agree with that. Um, and yes, I have my hat bound backwards too because if 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 Phil's gonna get super ethereal and put his hat on backwards, I'm gonna get super ethereal and put my hat on backwards too. Ugh. Anyways, so and no, it's not just to hide the bald spot on my fucking head. Y'all can see that anyways. Um, uh, yeah, I'm not even going to get into the whole Twitter banning thing because that's a separate issue for me. My issue with this video that Phil's done here, and I'm going to be playing some of it and reacting to it and giving you my opinions and responses on it, is just some of the huge amount of projection that Philip DeFranco does in this video is astounding to me. Is overwhelmingly astounding to me, the amount of projection that he makes and does in this video. Um, so we're gonna get here started here real quick.
For
here.
years, peddled in baseless, dangerous conspiracy theories. Peddled President of the United States, who has for years and saying some off-color stuff about a protected group or having some bad opinions. This is the President of the United States who has for years peddled in baseless, dangerous conspiracy theories. And this week, we saw an example.
Okay, let's break this down. Baseless and dangerous conspiracy theories. Okay, I'm not going to deny Trump is talking shit. I'm not going to deny that Trump has put out some weird ass theories, especially in the past few months, about things. But for Phil to sit there and say that about Trump and not recognize the hypocrisy, the sheer and overwhelmingly huge amount of hypocrisy involved in saying that amazes me. The way Phil just jumped on the bandwagon with Russiagate, Ukrainegate, the Kavanaugh hearings, and oh yeah, let's not forget his Covington kids response when he first saw that. The way he just jumped right on those bandwagons, right away jumped on those things. And by the way, Phil, how did you not get caught up in the lawsuit and have to pay out a few $1,000,000 to Nick Sandmann because of what you said about them? I'm curious about that. Maybe it's because you're not big enough, Phil. I don't know. You're not CNN. Well, I know you want to try to be. I mean, you're trying harder to be TYT than you are CNN, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, the fact that he's harping on Trump spouting out any conspiracies, and as the president, yeah, I'll concede that point. Trump needed to be a little bit more serious when it came to some things. I don't doubt that. As far as his public persona, I will concede on some points in that. But individual points but like I said, that's for another discussion. This is about Phil's response here, and I'm just man, seriously, Phil, you're a fucking hypocrite. You're a hypocrite when you said this. You're a straight up hypocrite when you said this. All right, let's keep going here.
Example of what happens when that boils over. What happens when you constantly lie to people, when you constantly mislead people, let them think that other people are doing crazy, nefarious things, that they are your enemy.
Oh, like you did with Russiagate and, accusing Trump, Russiagate was accused Trump of working for the Russians. Like you did with Ukrainegate that led to Trump's, bogus impeachment that, was proven, he had he did nothing wrong. But you were all over that, like you did with Brett Kavanaugh, and accusing him of being a rapist and everything. Yeah, let's and all the debunked and just proven lies that came out of all those things, those accusations. You never owned up to that, Phil. You never fucking owned up to any of that. You never owned up to being holding yourself, never held yourself accountable to that. And you're trying to run a news organization over there with your rocket jump, and it's like last I checked, had 13,000 subscribers. I've almost got more subscribers on my channel than that fucking thing does, Phil. At least last time I checked. I don't know. It's been a while because rocket jump is such. It's defunct as far as I'm concerned. We haven't seen anything of it, Phil. Where's all this money going that you've been getting from people and investors into this thing that you haven't capitalized on at all? It's been years. It's been 7 years now. 7 years. Where's it all gone? Anyways, we'll keep going.
Because they are my enemy. And we saw what that turned into, and people are now dead. So when I see...
Okay, so now you're worried. Now you're concerned about where things went, and I lost the video there for a second here. But hold on a second.
We've got
yeah, I'm not doing jump cuts like Phil, so you'll have to excuse me here. I'm doing this off the cuff, unlike Phil does, who likes to do his little jump cuts and make sure that everything's all nice and cool and edgy and seems like he's got everything rehearsed and all that. Anyways, now he's concerned about deaths. Yes, the deaths. The one woman who was shot and killed. I believe there was an officer killed. I think there was, last I saw, there was 3 other deaths. So a total of 5 deaths after the Capitol building was kind of rioted on or sieged. I don't know how you want to put it. First and foremost, I'll put this out there right now. I do not condone anything at all that happened at the Capitol building that the other day. I think, and I firmly believe this and feel this in my heart. It was all completely wrong. It should not have happened. I do not condone violent protests at all. I do not condone violent protests. When there's some violence that is condonable, I absolutely will agree with that. Are we at a point where people should be killing police officers, or police officers should be shooting unarmed women or unarmed men of any color, simply because they are refusing an order? No, I don't think we're anywhere close to where that would be a justifiable thing. But to sit there and say now, Phil, that and go on about people have died because of what you say, what Trump has said. You're accusing Trump of doing, having done. I think is extremely disingenuous, hypocritical, and ignorant of the over 60 deaths that have resulted from the BLM protests. Phil, did you even? I don't even recall you ever even doing a story, and I could be wrong on this, but I don't even recall you ever doing a story on David Dorn. David Dorn, the African American, black retired police officer, who was shot and killed for a flat screen TV, all in the name of justice for the black community. Yeah, I don't recall you ever doing a video about that, Phil, or ever talking about that. I don't recall you ever doing any videos about any of the African Americans, black people who were killed in Chicago. after during these riots, and so, or even really bringing them up. So yeah, I'm gonna have to call bullshit on your outrage right here because I'm not seeing it. I haven't seen it for deaths from from other instances of riots and stuff. So yeah, Phil, I'm gonna have to call bullshit on you right here. Let's continue.
Saw what that turned into, and people are now dead. So when I see Twitter permanently suspend Trump, I say good. When I see Facebook saying, okay, at least until there's a transition of power, right? Mark Zuckerberg put out a whole blog post about it that we're going to suspend his account at least until then. I say good. Is there a conversation to be had about censorship online and control of these certain groups? Have 1,000%.
I'm glad to see you at least agree with that, Phil. But of course, you followed up with a but.
But we also have to have a bigger conversation of what happens when misinformation and conspiracy theories are able to spread in part because they're coming from the people with the most power.
Now let's get to that right there, Phil. The conspiracy theories and the lies coming from the people with the most power. Phil, you are one of the oldest and most prominent names on YouTube. All right. Anybody who's been watching YouTube for the past decade or so knows who you are. All right. I've personally been subscribed to you since before you moved to California. All right. That was well over a decade ago. For you to sit there and say that, and while I will agree, yeah, the president is far more of a prominent figure in the country than you are one of the most prominent people on YouTube, even though you still only have 6 million subscribers. You are still one of the most prominent people on YouTube. And for you to sit there and harp on, Trump latching on any of these, ridiculous QAnon conspiracy theories or, any of these other things, and not own your own hypocrisy for backing and harping and pushing Russiagate, Ukrainegate, Kavanaugh, the Covington kids. It's really it's self-exposing, Phil. Don't you see it? I mean, don't you see it? I mean, I've been seeing this from you for like the past 5 years, man. Slowly getting worse, and I've been trying to correct. I've left comments, to hoping you would see them, to in hopes that you would correct your path on this and everything. And I just, man, I don't know, and obviously, you didn't read them. I'm sure of that, and if you did, you obviously didn't need them. But yeah, I don't see you as, and nobody honestly should see you as a beacon of truth at all, because you have pushed conspiracy theories and lies, Phil. You have. You are an authoritative person on YouTube, whether no matter and I know you're probably just doing all this so YouTube will give you the golden stamp like they've given TYT, to be able to produce any kind of content you want and monetize it. But honestly, Phil, I mean, are you seriously, have you honestly decided to sell out your principles, and your stance? I mean, I remember when your stance on free speech was equal to mine when it came to free speech on YouTube and the internet. But now, I mean, here you are. I mean, justified or not, no matter how it's justified, you're advocating for the shutdown of social media access for the sitting president of the United States, whether you agree with him or not. So I mean, where do you? I mean, if you're willing to take that stance on the president of the United States, what's stopping you from deciding, anybody else, me, shouldn't have a voice on the internet? I don't know. That's a question you should ponder, Phil.
Last video, I referred to Donald Trump as one of the most dangerous viruses we've ever seen, and part of that, connected to that, is the dangerous virus of misinformation. We have seen what that can do. How many...
I've already gotten into the misinformation thing, all right? Phil has pushed a ton of misinformation out there. So we'll just keep going here.
People do you know? How many people are you related to that you have seen their mind poisoned over the past 4 years? And some...
I've seen your mind poisoned over the past 4 or 5 years, Phil. Poisoned either because you're trying to survive on YouTube or because you actually believe the bullshit you're pushing. But if you are ever trying to be, if you had ever sat down and tried to report the news that you do objectively, I honestly think you would be doing a lot better on YouTube. I think your channel would have seen massive growth over the past 5 years rather than being stuck at the 6 million it has been. You're only at 6 million subs, Phil, and you have been for the past 5 years. So tell me, how do you explain that? I mean, I've seen people like Steven Crowder has surpassed TYT a few weeks ago. And I think if I was to check right now, I'm not going to, but I think he's gonna pass you up this year probably. What does that say about you, Phil? You haven't seen any growth at all. Any growth at all, and it's because you've taken a partisan, biased stance on reporting the news. Just like we see on CNN, MSNBC, and yeah, I'll even say it. I'll say this too on Fox. Fox is biased and they're partisan. I'm not going to deny that. But we don't see them growing at all. We don't see them growing at all, Phil. In fact, excuse me, I've had a few drinks. In fact, we see them losing viewership. Legacy media is dying, and you are pushing the same narratives that legacy media does. Do you ever think maybe what you're doing is wrong, Phil? Has that ever come across you? Have you ever looked at your channel growth and wondered, why am I stuck at this 6 million? Why is Keemstar almost about ready to pass me up? Keemstar, Phil! Keemstar is going to pass you in subscribers. Think about that, Phil. Maybe it's time you sat back and looked at your channel and looked at what you've been doing the past 4 or 5 years, and think to yourself, maybe I need to be more objective. Maybe I need to present the facts that we know, not the ones that are being pushed by extreme leftists and progressives, or extreme, what's being pushed by the extreme right. Anyways, let's keep going here. We're almost done.
Just in the last year. And to the people that ultimately say this whenever I bring up Donald Trump, they're like, oh, you got Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, you're biased.
I just covered that. You do have Trump derangement syndrome, and you are biased. Say what you want about Trump, and I can talk about this in another video if you guys want me to. Say what you want about Trump. His policies these past 4 years have not been bad for this country and for the people who live in it. We can talk about that in another video if you want, though. But you definitely have Trump derangement syndrome. You're definitely biased, Phil.
There is no center. There is no middle ground when talking about a wannabe demagogue, a wannabe.
See, this is another part of the projection thing too. All right, Phil, your time on YouTube and the influence you have, you are a wannabe demagogue. You are a wannabe demagogue. All right, the fact that you made this video right here proves that. It proves it that you want people to believe you more than anybody else, that you are an authoritative source for them. And you're pushing this narrative because you want YouTube's approval. Because we all know you're deathly afraid of, losing money. And you're deathly afraid of losing monetization, which is why you don't report things objectively. You report things so that YouTube doesn't get mad at you. That's the bottom line.
Autocrat like Donald Trump who tried to take over in a democracy. You're pro-Trump, I'm pro-America.
Okay, here's the thing. Trump didn't try to take over in a democracy. All right, yes, he tried to he tried to get this election overturned for him. Yeah, I'll concede that. But there's nothing for him to currently take over because he is still the president. And in spite of his efforts, I will applaud those, congressmen and senators who not only fought for trying to make sure that proper attention was brought to the irregularities in this election, but I'll also applaud those who stood up and said it's constitutionally we have to follow the constitutional process. The process won out. That's why we have a constitution. And Joe Biden is the president-elect. He is going to be inaugurated. But he didn't try to steal anything. Right? He fought for what he believed was a false election, and I'm sorry if anybody out there disagrees with me on that. If you think there were not any irregularities in this election, then you are extremely blind to what has been going on. But we'll continue here and finish up.
America. There's a difference, and it's horrifying that you do not see it.
Oh wait, we got back up. This is my favorite.
I'm pro-America. There's a difference to take over in a democracy. You're pro-Trump, I'm pro-America. There's a difference, and it's horrifying that you do not see it.
Okay, so Phil says you're pro-Trump, I'm pro-America. Phil, if you were pro-America, you would be an advocate for the truth. Honestly. And I'm not saying you have to be pro-Trump to be an advocate for the truth. Have I been a Trump supporter these past 4 years? Yes. Have I been, full MAGA and everything? No. I intentionally made sure that the ball cap I selected to wear backwards was not red. Because I don't own a MAGA hat. The only red ball caps I have are Ohio State Buckeye caps. By the way, so glad they beat Clemson. So for you to sit there and say, though, that you are pro-America, being pro-America does not mean being anti-Trump. Okay? There's a lot to be involved in being pro-America. I've repeated this quote before, and I don't want to dig it out right now so I can read it to you guys, but as you know, a lot of people out there know, remember me, as being in video game, I went by the name Super Patriot, and I still consider myself to be a super patriot. I served in the Navy, uh, and come from a family who has a long line of family relatives who have served in the military. Um, so I believe in this country. I believe in the people who live in this country, and I believe in our form of government. As far as I'm concerned, that's all you need to be pro-American. But to be anti-Trump does not mean to be pro-American. And Phil, you are anti-Trump. You're not pro-America. You're anti-Trump. And if you would sit back and honestly look at the things that Trump did do that were good for this country, and not just this country, but honestly, and it kills me. I'm honestly sad that the past few days are going to be Trump's legacy. I'm honestly sad to see that, because of the good that he did, not just for this country, but for other areas of the world. Whether you want to believe this or not, but Trump was instrumental in almost bringing about peace in the Middle East. For Muslim countries recognizing the sovereignty of Israel, that is not a drop in the bucket for somebody to achieve. And I didn't want to get too much into what Trump's done. Like I said, if I can do that for another video if you guys want to hear it. But this is more as a response to Phil here saying that being anti-Trump is not being pro-America. Being pro-Trump is not necessarily pro-America. There was somebody who said this once, and like I said, I'm going to paraphrase this because I don't want to dig out and rustle my camera situation here. Who said that patriotism is not about being loyal to your country. It's not even really about loyalty. Patriotism is about doing what is. Patriotism is about doing what you can to help your fellow countrymen out as best as you can. And I heard those words a couple years ago, and it really made me sit back and think. Because while we're Americans and we are citizens of the United States, and we are, whether you want to, argue with me on this or not, but you're going to lose because I'm never going to change my opinion on this. We are the greatest country to have ever existed. People who, and who unfortunately live in poverty in this country live better than people in other countries who are in poverty. They, hands down. You can try and throw statistics at me and everything like that. End of the day, though, even people who live in, abject poverty live better in this country than people who are in abject poverty in other countries. Bottom line. We are arguably the last remaining superpower. So for Phil to sit there and say he's pro-America, I don't believe you, Phil. I don't believe you, Phil, because if you were pro-America, you would be pro-truth. You would be pro-objective truth. And I'm not saying I'm not biased. I am. There's things I'm biased on, but there are things that I can at least try to reach an agreement with somebody who is on the left side of the argument. There are things that I'm willing to sit down and discuss and debate and, reach a, mutual agreement, a mutually beneficial agreement with people who are on the left side of the argument. There are things that I am hardline about, and we can get into that in another video. But I just want to say to you, Phil, if you want to sit there and say that you're pro-America, then I want you to prove it. You need to prove it to me and the rest of your audience out there on YouTube. All right? Because honestly, I'd like to see you at 7 million subscribers. I'd like to see you at 10 million subscribers. But I want you to be honest, Phil. I want you to be honest about what you are doing, what you are saying, and who you're saying it to. Because for the past 5 years, you haven't been. You've been kowtowing to YouTube and the censors. You gave up on the First Amendment protections, Phil. You gave up on free speech. After H1 was H3, won their lawsuit, after you supported them, you haven't done anything to stand up and speak up for people who were being censored and being removed from the platform that you have been benefiting from for the past 15 years. Where did that Phil go? That's what I want to know. Where did the Phil go that would stand there and say, this is bullshit, YouTube? Why are you shutting down these people's channels just because you don't agree with what they're saying? What happened to that Phil? That's the Phil I subscribed to. That's the Phil I followed and was a fan of. And then the Phil who I enjoyed watching. I sit here now and I dread clicking on your videos. I still do it. I don't know why. But I sit here and I dread clicking on your videos because of how horrible you have become. How un-American you've become. Because anybody who is pro-America would not stand for the censorship that has been going on these past 5 years. That's all I gotta say. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Phil, I hope you see this. And I hope somebody who knows you gets this to you so you can see it. So you can sit there and just... I'm not doing this as an attack on you, Phil. I'm doing this as an honest review of your content for the past 5 years. But everybody else out there watching this, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please do so by giving it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, give me a subscription, all right? Let me know if there's anybody out there who's still willing to hear what I have to say. All right, you guys take care. Bye.